let's just say, right, 4,000 subscribers. We would already likely to have more than 8,000 subscribers. So stop being a cunt, for Christ's sake, right? That's the least you can do. You're probably watching this video. You've probably been watching the channel for 7 months, maybe 2 years. Still not subscribed. Lazy bum. Just hit the subscribe button, guys, because 50% people now subscribed should be punishable. Should be punished severely, okay? I want to talk about different communication styles of different Enneagram types. Obviously, not subtypes, just in general, just Enneagram types. Now, I'm not going to sit here and claim this is an original idea. It's actually something I have seen on Haiki's website. Now, if you don't know who Haiki is, he's one of the Naranjo, I guess, inspired authors, right? He kind of follows Naranjo's teaching. So, he's a very good author, and I was on his website, which is all Spanish or something. I saw this section about communication. So, okay, let's make a video on this section, because I read it, and I even shared it with my friends on my server, and I can tell you, many people related to their own type of communication. So with Enneagram 2, here the style of communication is called extroverted seducer. And the tendency here is to seduce people with gestures and body language and words. So it's someone who can give out many compliments, use a lot of flattery, a lot of flowery language, one might say. This is kind of a tendency of the Enneagram 2. They can be invasive in what they say, but not necessarily in how they say it. They seek to be conversational and to be cordial. They are more careful. They also have a histrionic side, and they like to be in the center of attention. And the advice given by Haiki when it comes to Enneagram 2's communication style is communicate without manipulation.
Thank you. I love you, Patty. Thank you so much. It's such an honor. Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for coming to my quinceañera. It means so much that you guys are here today. It means so much. I appreciate it, you all coming out. No, I want to thank Billboard so much for this incredible honor. I feel completely undeserving, and I don't, thank you. It's truly insane. I want to thank you guys for also putting on this event every year, because it acknowledges, how male-dominated this industry is, and gives women a moment to be together and fight for more equality. Hopefully we can even out the playing field moving forward. And it's really cool to be in this room with so many women that I love. I'm obsessed with all of you. Celebrating all of the amazing women here tonight. After I come off stage, I want to hug everyone. You're all amazing. I look forward to hopefully learning to give some of the love and forgiveness that I've given away so frivolously and easily to men in the past, to myself, hopefully this year.
So the Enneagram 3 style of communication is considered to be seductive, but it is inhibited, which is quite interesting. Tendency in communication here is that they tend to be structured and very clear in their speech. So again, someone who is very clear and concise in how they communicate. Makes sense, right? For someone who's controlling the image, the way they convey their information themselves is very crafted, very, very particular. Here, they can have a tendency to talk about their achievements or even the things they have done. The interesting part is that they can come across as a bit distant and even cold. They seek to be efficient in their words. And the advice here for the Enneagram 3 would be speak without a filter. And this is something that, is true for many Enneagram 3 people. There's a lot of filtering of themselves. They want to present you a certain image, a professional image. A social 3 is not a clown. It's not someone who just gonna do dumb shit. No, it's very crafty individual who will show you, a person of achievement, of accomplishment, of high intelligence, of sophistication. They're not gonna just be a fucking ape and act like an ape.
Pretty impressive, Dwayne.
It's awesome. Yes, it's big. It's epic. I've been told that this is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, premieres ever in Hollywood. That sounds a little hyperbole, but from what I'm told, they shut the whole block of Hollywood
just for you,
down, just for me,
just for
me and you. That was it. No, it's so cool for the musical aficionados out there. Like Lin-Manuel, he has complex writing. His music is complex. I nailed it.
The Enneagram 4 style is called the inhibited introvert, with the sexual 4 being more of an aggressive or more aggressive style. The tendency here is that they can be quite dramatic and ambiguous. They like to talk about their emotional world. If the subject does not interest them, they can be bored easily. They can jump from one topic to another, appearing melodramatic. They often lack the words necessary to express their internal world, what they feel on the inside. So they use other means to kind of express themselves, such as art. They seek to make clear what happens to them is special and unique. And the advice here from Heike was to speak with balance. Now, a lot of it makes sense, I think. The emotional world, it makes sense, right? They can be dramatic when I talk about their emotional world, struggle with expressing their emotional world well. But the whole, like, spurging from one topic to another, oh, I'm so chaotic, that's a bit strange for me. Overall, I think it makes sense and it is accurate, but any forecasts in the chat, in the comment section, you guys can say what you think about this.
It's just like an extension of the world, and I was just so inspired by this whole process, and I wanted to do something with the music that's in the movie, but like really bend genre and make it really kind of hard to define, like my character. Like I think women are super exciting, complex, and can't be pinned down, so that's what Harlequin is. I worked a lot on developing her voice and finding like what her sound was, what was natural and raw to her, this kind of like brokenness. And she's one of those chicks that like, she's got like an inner storm, like a bomb's gonna go off in her at any moment. The movie, it was inspired by my character Lee, and just also like kind of this like reflection on my life as a performer. And it was just meant to be like a really personal song about how I think sometimes we can go through dark times and feel like happiness is kind of an accident when it happens.
Enneagram 5 style is inhibited introvert style. They tend to be quite cold and distant, and they have a particular mood. There is a lot of focus on talking about what they know and avoiding topics or not talking at all about what they feel. Here they value their privacy at all costs, so even you see this tendency even in communication, even in conversation. They can express themselves with a certain hidden superiority. They seek to focus the conversation on what they know quite well. If the person talking to them is not very careful, they can make the Enneagram 5 feel easily attacked or even invaded. The advice here is to come down from the pedestal of knowledge.
There's not just one version of Facebook running in the world, right? There's probably tens of thousands of versions running because engineers here have the power to try out an idea and ship it to maybe 10,000 people or 100,000 people, and then they get a readout on how that version of what they did, whether it was a change to show better content in newsfeed or UI change or some new feature, they get a readout on how that version performed compared to the baseline version of Facebook that we have on everything that we care about, how connected people are.
Now, Enneagram 6 style of communication is called detail-oriented. They tend to talk about catastrophic things that, in their opinion, could happen. Their language is precise and they tend to ask a lot of questions. There's a lot of emotional control here, control of their expression. They can come across as a bit monotonous and even boring. They seek to engage in relationships from a position of caution. There is usually a lot of self-control in their words. Their approach is usually very sensible. They will rely on science to prove their ideas, to support their ideas. And the advice here is very simple, but effective. Speak without thinking too much.
Well, it's some kind of spatial perception. You see in your mind's eye that when you make this move, if you made this move, it'll be there, and he makes this move, it'll be there. You just sort of see the position as it could be in a few moves.
How far are you able to, say, plan ahead depending on what your opponent may or may not do? Or do you also analyze that when you make a move that he'll do this, then if I do that, he'll do this, and then you go over the next set of moves?
It all depends. I think Capablanca once said he only sees one move ahead, the best move. If it's a simple position where just one line, and he has to make every move just the way you want him to, you can see 20 moves ahead.
Right.
But supposing you make a move and he has 3 or 4 replies, and then you have to analyze all those replies. Then you have several replies to those replies. So you might only be able to see 2 moves ahead, or 3 moves ahead.
Then we have the Enneagram 7, which is called the extroverted seducer. They try to seduce and dazzle people. They can express themselves with great intensity. At times they can be funny and enthusiastic. They have a certain type of charlatanism that leads to a very superficial speech. They tend to be quick and spontaneous in their ideas. They don't pay attention to what other people are talking. They're not listening. They're just yapping and just talking. They seek to be the focus and share their ideas. And in the meantime, they don't really get too involved and they will avoid conflict. Here, advice is pretty simple. Talk less, listen more, right? Let other people speak and see what's up.
There you go, love. Be careful because that's a low-cut dress. I'm only flesh and blood. I've got instincts. I hope that I'm here as a fully qualified professional gentleman.
None of us are.
Free from mental illness.
Free from it.
None of you. This is a hotbed of neurosis and psychosis.
Yes.
And how icons are appropriated and used to designate consciousness and meaning, particularly posthumously. I bet they can't look at pornography. I bet it's blocked on their website. If you're in a room with people, then what you're saying is clear. If you say something that people are confused about, you can explain it to them then. If you say something as a joke, people can't pretend that you're saying it seriously. So I like having direct communication with people because I believe people are very, very intelligent, but the information gets manipulated a lot and people like to cause, like, you know, fake stirs and stuff.
Now the Enneagram 8 communication style is called aggressive. They tend to be blunt and direct, and they often are abrupt. They speak with their body and their gaze is icy. Their communication can be challenging and even intimidating, authoritative in tone, and even confrontational. They can have a very colloquial tone, right? Using street language. So, colloquial. I know what that means. I just don't know how to say it. They seek to control the conversation and dominate at all times. Now, the advice here is pretty simple, but it is speak more sweetly.
I
didn't give you permission to interrupt me. I didn't give you permission to interrupt me. I stayed quiet when you were talking. Good info.
Why are you doing this, Mohammed?
Why not?
You're arrested without charge if you're held for a security reason.
Pathetic. I will say what I want. It's uncensored. Good boy.
Let me finish, please. Let me make my point.
You said Israel doesn't do, and then you just listed 3 or 4 things, and that was one of the things that you just listed.
No, I said Israel had never...
Am I speaking a foreign tongue? What's wrong with you? Why are you not looking at me again? You're crying. Are you crying?
The Enneagram 9 style is called inhibited passive-aggressive. They're very ambivalent and they have an overly gray communication style. They have a hard time setting limits when communicating, and they tend to go unnoticed in group conversations. They're very good listeners. In fact, they're so good at listening, forget to even express themselves. They seek to avoid conflict at all costs. This is very stereotypical, but kind of makes sense. Here, the advice is speak by setting limits, right? Work on your boundaries, work on your limits, express yourself more. That's my opinion, to be honest. Express yourself more. Say what you think. Find your desires and speak for your desires, because an Enneagram 9 might have a hard time knowing what they want, what they need. How do you know what the fuck you want is actually what you want and not what everyone else wants? You lived with them so long, you probably went along with them. Find yourself, right? Find your limits, and if you have to... express that in the conversation, in your communication.
In my 10 years, I feel like they're the memories that will stick forever. But when I think about career, I can, you know, there are obviously things that are fun, but did they matter as much in the long run, you know?
There you sing about your greatest achievement.
Yeah.
And it's not 80,000 people at Wembley.
No.
Tell me about it.
Well, I feel like the greatest achievement I've made is starting a family, having love in my life. I know so many people that have so many things that have filled up their house, or like they have lots of money, or they've had lots of success, but they're lonely and they wish for that. And I've had moments of my career where, you know, I play solo, I come off stage, I sit in a dressing room, and it's like, oh, I've got no one to share this. I've got no one to celebrate this with. You can have all the accolades in the world, but if you've got no one to celebrate the success with, like, what's the point? So I'd say the greatest success has been settling.
Now, Enneagram 1 communication style, it's kind of both. It's detail-oriented and also aggressive, hyper-aggressive with the sexual one. They are the most structured and precise in speech from all the different types. They have everything so detailed that they can even seem more rational than the mental types. In their world, there is always the truth, their truth. They are very careful with their language and they will use precise words. They tend to be quite tense in dialogue. They seek to be right with their words. It is not uncommon to see them correcting other people in conversation. Now, the advice here is to speak without imposing.
As far as if you want to take issue with the argument, I would urge you not to use the argument from authority, which is somebody has a PhD by their name, they know what they're talking about. That's a dumb argument. I don't need a 7-year degree in sociology, no bullshit when I hear it. Okay, the fact is that either my argument's good or my argument's bad. citing to my credentials is a really bad way of making an argument. So you're going to have to make me an argument as to what I'm saying that's wrong instead of just saying I don't have the properly enumerated degree from the institution of your choice.
Again, guys, remember, this is from the Hayeki source of what he thinks based on Naranjo's teachings. What's the communication style? Personally, I do think it makes sense when I apply it to people I know. What is your opinion? Do you relate to your communication style of your Enneagram type? Write down below. And that's it. Keep the comment section active. Anyway, I'm out and I'm bouncing.